Hello, my name is Magiori, and today I want us to talk about the governance and leadership of this country. And have we ever been told of illiteracy? I'm very sure you have ever heard of the name illiteracy. Someone who is illiterate, we can say someone who have inability to read or write. But we can also say someone who is illiterate is someone who lacks knowledge to make a proper decision. Now, we as Kenyans, most of the times I can say everyone, every profession, provided whether you have gone to school or not, we have a certain level of illiteracy. So, according to me, everyone have an image or perception of a working country. Let's say, for teachers, what will be an ideal working country for them? Maybe a country where the teacher grievances and concerns are listened to, where they have a good salary, a good pay slip, where the education system is working, where everything that they need to deliver in the education sector is catered for. Let's say for the doctors, what is an ideal country for them? Maybe a government that focus on the health system, or a government that look at their concerned working conditions, that a government that take good care of the health sector. Everyone, every profession, business people, maybe an ideal country is a country which favors the business world, where the taxation is considerate, taxation system is considerate, yes, where you are taxed properly to make sure that the business environment function efficiently and continue to exist without problems. No overtaxation, in simple terms. Well, everyone have a level of illiteracy. They have an ideal country. We look at a functioning country based on we look at the country based on the level of individual interest or the sector in which you work, but we never look at the country in a wider perspective. For instance, let's say, for now, what is an ideal regime? Yes, before we vote, most of the times we have voted several times since we got our independence. Before we vote, what do we get to think of that regime? What do we look for? Maybe most of the times we are driven by those individual interests. Is that regime likely to favor the health sector or when making decision, we look at the smaller picture. But have we ever tried to look at the wider picture? For me, the wider picture is, what if we stop looking at the governance and leadership when voting based on what you start to gain professionally in your working environment, and start focusing on the big picture? What do we start to gain as a country? Yes? In this way, what we should be, in my opinion, what we should be looking at, the coming regime, does it have the ability to focus on solving the problems all around in all sectors? Will the coming regime or government try to solve the problem that with the health crisis, such that when a crisis hits in the health, can the health system, when a health crisis hits, can the health system be able to deal with the crisis? For instance, Corona. When you look at how Corona affected the European countries and how it hit the African countries, there is a very different way. So if Corona pandemic was to hit the African nations the way it hit the European countries, it could be have very difficult for Africa to deal with it. Simply, it's all have to do with how we have managed our health system. How efficient is it? How interested are we in improving it? Yes, we can agree on that. So we should be asking ourselves, before voting any government into power, what what its ability to deal with all the crises around. If the crisis food security crisis hits famine, will we be able to feed our nation? When will that regime going to look at the education sector to make sure that education is available, accessible by everyone, regardless of your financial situation? But most of the times, we all have a kind of illiteracy, which we say everyone, every person, whether you have gone to school or not, whether you have the ability to write or whether you are a professional, an engineer, a doctor, we all have a level of illiteracy where we judge our working government or its ability to deliver based on the concentration it gives to our environment, our working environment, or the sector in which we work, all the profession that you have pursued. But we fail to look at how a country can function based on delivering all around health, education, food security, defense, agriculture. We don't look at the big picture. So what is your opinion on this? Do you think that we as the common citizen, we fail to look at the bigger picture? Yes, what the government, a regime can deliver in terms of all sectors that are involved, and not based on. Do you say we are ignorant or have a kind of lack of knowledge when making a decision on the ability of a regime to deliver? My name is Mwakiori.